Hasan defends Chinese colonialism openly. He's pro-genocide in Tibet. Not even debatable. He said it himself. He said their culture is inferior and that China did them a favor by taking them over. That's genocide. No, he doesn't. Tibet was a feudal, oppressive, slavery-backed autonomous state. Guardian, 98% of the population was enslaved.
Way to describe Taiwan as well. The American federal government going into the South and killing, unfortunately not all of them, but a decent amount of slavers and defenders of slavery. This is violent retribution from a powerful federal government.
That comparison is very frustrating for a lot of people because they were like, how dare you say that? Yeah, it's not even an apt comparison because the Maoist groups would not have any kind of, would have no motion whatsoever if it wasn't for Tibetans themselves that had a anti-feudal uprising. Anyway, what is this?
This is from The Guardian. Until 1959, when trying to crack down on Tibetan rebels in the...
Yeah. It's just like, I don't think that like Tibetan culture is barbaric or anything like that, okay? It's the Tibetans themselves that, rose up against feudal slavery. The only place we deviate is that I don't think we should displace 8 million Jews that were born there. Hasan agrees. Why I don't believe in a two-state solution any longer.
So,
not only do I agree with that no displacement of Jews that live there, I have had this conversation directly with Ethan. So I don't know what he's talking about in terms of his belief that I think I believe that we should displace all of the people that live there. We had this conversation directly. Here it is.
There already is a one state. Like, the way I see it, the actual legitimate reason as to why I don't believe in a two-state solution any longer is because there is a one state, right? And that one state is an apartheid state. It's a constant Israeli occupation in the West Bank and constant control over Gaza as well, which has been a demonstrable failure for Israeli security, obviously. You and I agree on that. But my solution, basically, when I say I want a one state, is first and foremost a moral one, because I do want the end to the apartheid so that Palestinians can have recognition, it can continue a life of dignity, have autonomy, and participate in a secular democratic process. But the alternative is, the way I see it is is it a one state that is an apartheid, or is it a one state that doesn't have an apartheid? And
you're saying it could still be the state of Israel.
I don't care what it's called. I have no interest in discussing that. I care more about human beings that live there.
I guess, it's like this.
I have said time and time again that I think it would be unimaginable cruelty to displace hundreds of thousands of people living in the West Bank. Okay? That it is completely, it's just not going to happen. Not only will it never happen, but also on top of that, it would be cruel. Okay? And that is precisely the reason why I believe that Israel has made it inevitable that there can only be a one state if there is a just solution to all of this. Okay? Admission to slander. For a year, Hasan was constantly elevating people that want me to die and running defense for people that... Wait, what is this? Ease admission to slander?
That's why
for a year. It was just constant elevating people that want me to die and running defense for people that hate me.
Yeah, that's also completely untrue. There was another effort post specifically on this on my subreddit. That there was also another post on this on my subreddit specifically about how I had consistently defended Ethan throughout the entire process for the past year, saying that all things that I have heard from him directly, all things that I have seen from him directly contradict him being this Israel defender. Having said that, however, of course, I have also tried to communicate to Ethan that while I know that you are not a defender of Israel, okay, people are not going to know what's in your heart and what's in your mind, and they only respond to what you are putting out there. So if 12 months of genocide and your output is specifically about people calling you a Zionist over and over again, including but not limited to many different moments where people would come in here and be like, he made fun of Aaron Bushnell, who self-immolated. He did this, he did that. He kept repeating certain talking points over and over again. And it's all of that is going to obviously cause people to assume that you are more invested in one side of this conversation. Even in that conversation that we had months ago, that last conversation that we had in person, when he made a comparison about JVP, Jewish Voice for Peace, saying that there were capos as well in the Nazi regime that collaborated with the Nazi regime, that like, I tried to explain to him that like, I don't think you mean this, and yet people will hear that. People will hear that and assume that that's what you mean. Of course, people are going to assume that that's what you are saying. That's what I meant at the time when I tried to explain, like, there's only so much I can do in terms of like stopping the flow of criticism coming your way when you present yourself a certain way to the broader audience and you don't actually show the audience like what the full scale of your framework is. The moral of this whole story is what you said. If you repeat what Zionists say, you can't stop people from thinking you're a Zionist. Exactly. Here, this is the other effort pose. Timestamp breakdown. Hasan defends Ethan on September 13th, 2024. Ethan took a clip from this stream out of context on his show, so I figured it would be a good idea to add context by breaking down the stream with timestamps. Impossible to argue that Hasan is doing anything but standing up for Ethan and telling off his chat in the stream, regardless of what Ethan's unhinged, untrue rant calling for his friend to be banned on Twitch will have you think. Ethan turning off comments on the video when fans disagree with him in the comments is insane. I think a lot of people fail to consider that when I choose not to show certain things coming from Ethan's side, it is not because I'm fearful of the brilliant points that he's making. It's more so that it's disappointing, it's sad to see, and beyond that, it's more so to, in some ways, not present him in the worst possible light that he is desperately presenting himself as. Hasan begins reacting to the video of why the Leftovers podcast ended. Hasan talks about why he never talks about Ethan, why Leftovers ended, because parasocialism and him not being at odds with Ethan on Israel-Palestine. Hasan says he doesn't care that Ethan calls him out because he knows Ethan's heart is in the right place about Israel-Palestine, regardless of how he treats Hasan's community and mods. Hasan defends Ethan, telling off his chat and saying that Ethan will never become MAGA. Anti-Semitism is abhorrent and completely unacceptable. I've never allowed it. It is my red line. Hasan says when he looks back at Leftovers, he's happy that it happened. Hasan supports enjoying Ethan's content, even when people disagree. Stark tone difference from Ethan saying Hasan should be banned on Twitch because of how Hasan's content makes him feel, don't you think? Hasan says that he got the feeling that Ethan thought Hasan was trying to turn the H3 community against Ethan, when Hasan was instead offering him more charitability and banning chatters who came into the stream to shit talk Ethan / cause drama. Hasan defends Ethan's character, even when Ethan gets too passionate and flies off the rails, because ultimately Hasan thinks Ethan's heart is in the right place. Hasan says Ethan is 90% of the way on the correct stance on Israel-Palestine. Hasan says, please point to anti-Semites in the chat so we can ban them. Says anti-Semitism is banned in his community. Of course, because it always has been. Hasan tells off a chatter for condemning Ethan instead of commending Ethan for having the correct take in 2021. Hasan tells chat to shut up, and he hates that they don't care about his well thought out opinion and hates how they call Ethan a Nazi and why he hates covering drama with Ethan. And he knows that people will spin his opinion to prove his community is anti-Semitic. Hasan goes off on chat again, calling them crazy and telling them they can't be normal, saying that it's not Destiny chatters cosplaying, but rather people who say he is not sufficiently leftist. If I ever catch someone talking maliciously about Gila, I will ban you. You are an unhinged psycho. Permanently bans chatter talking bad about Ethan. Hasan correctly predicts a reasonable take on the issue will not get clipped, but instead an out of context take will be clipped by Boner Chelly's community, which Ethan did use, by the way. Not only did he go directly to the subreddit, but he also straight up used a clip from a clip titled Hasanabi. How can I view that in any framework but pure, unadulterated, unregulated Islamophobia? An unlisted clip titled Hasanabi. Like, that's insane, man. That's insane. That's actually insane. That is not good faith at all. There is no way for me to actually look at that and treat that with like kindness and charitability beyond what I've done. I think the most charitable thing that I can do is refuse to talk about it. You know, it's insane that you support CCP. Okay, dude. I just want high-speed rail in the United States of America. I want even development in rural communities in the United States of America. Okay. I want healthcare in the United States of America. I want good college education in the United States of America that is free. I want better educational opportunities for every single American, okay? Hasan identifies someone posting in the H2 subreddit as a D-fan, LSF stalker who's been clipping him for 5 years. Frogan clip from Ethan's podcast. Hasan correctly predicts that all that will come out of the situation is drama that turns into drama content and says that his audience is annoying and don't listen to him. Hasan correctly predicts that random chatters' unnecessary chirping messages will be twisted against them. Ethan showed them on stream today. Hasan rage quits on chat, explaining how their acting is why Leftovers ended, asking his chat to focus on what matters and will advance the cause of a free Palestine. Just felt this VOD / response from Hasan deserves a voice because Ethan didn't mention that Hasan defends him and tells off his chat about it. This is from September 13th, 2024. If you look back at the early stages of the saga and the drama, you will recognize that I had time and time again done more than this, okay? More than this. Such a well thought out record keeping of Hasan's reasonableness, but have you considered that Hasan is a Muslim and sending waves to signal his audience? Is there any chance at all he sees this and gives you charitability? Oh, I want it for him. I don't know, maybe. Like that DanClancySucks.com website is literally reskinned Hasanabi.com, by the way, because even they realize that like that level of Islamophobic fervor is probably not going to present well to a broader audience, so they like basically reskinned it, and it's all clips that are completely clipped out of context that go directly against things that I believe in. And this has been ongoing for the past year because that community, Bonercelli's community, is way more predisposed with making a mockery and presenting a false narrative surrounding one of the loudest voices that is pro-Palestinian emancipation than the actual genocide. They don't give a, they do not give a, why do this? He's just going to misconstrue your points like last night. It's okay because there's 38,000 people in here and not every single person in here is totally primed and totally tuned into this. So it deserves some level of recognition for those who are in here who are like, I don't really understand. I thought you were a cool guy, but now I'm thinking that you're a, pro Islamist fundamentalist terrorist, dude. Like what the For a year, Hasan was constantly elevating people that me. Hasan has always defended I think you're a good person. Just understand that people don't know the empathy that you have and simply see similar talking points that they've heard from others that don't demonstrate that same empathy.
That's all I'm doing.
I know. I never
You
said that.
disagree, clearly. That's it. And that's fine.
I've never said any of those things against you. And I don't believe that. I'm simply trying to describe the position of Palestinians in this matter on this front. And,
You've done that, and I
Palestinians,
understand, bro.
Anti-Zionists as a whole.
I understand. I've listened to you. I agree.
I'm sorry. I don't want to fight. I think this is like, I mean, it sucks, and I'm sorry that I made you feel a certain way. I'm sorry that my community.
He's pretending that he has nothing to do with this. Ridiculous. He pulled a sub up on stream. I don't know why he's embarrassed about the association with Destiny. Like, I actually don't get it. Like, it's not like we've seen it. I know where these talking points are coming from. Like, I know where these clips out of context are coming from. And it's like my position on this has not changed, which is ironic because people at the time did not comprehend this. Like people at the time were thinking like, oh, he's saying he has no control. He has no control over his own community. Hasan has no control over his community. That's not what I was saying at all. Okay. There's only so much I can do, but I cannot mind control people into assuming that you are pro-Palestinian when you are using similar talking points to those who are, pro-Israel. I think people know that community is unhinged and obsessed. So Ethan knows it discredits his narrative. He's receiving all these clips served on a platter, trickled down long after you've dealt with them, and he probably knows it. No. So yeah, I think like this does a pretty good job. I think this does a pretty solid job of like, maybe showcasing like what the narrative is. You said this exact quote. I know it's weird that I repeat myself so much and have to do it time and time again. It's because D called ex podcast buddy a R word several times, so it's pathetic for him to capitulate that openly. Yeah, aren't there logs of Destiny time and time again saying like Ethan is R worded over and over again? He's like pathetic and all this and until basically this was a good vehicle to unload the frustrations that you feel. Because it seems, I remember people at the time being mad at you in bad faith, obviously, for being nice to people you know personally. He saw the same critique come up recently too. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. But the point is, you've always been courteous and have never done anything that could possibly be construed as leading your followers to harass anyone. Yes, even this clip itself says, please be nice in the comments and do not harass Ethan. Hasan and Ethan are friends. Be respectful. Not just logs, but clips. He said he had an IQ of 80. Yes, there are tons of clips. It's just strange that like this level of serialized, systematized, open cyber stalking and mass harassment campaigns is so normal, and there's like not really anything you can do. But yeah, I have to obviously still address some of this slander, you know? What is this? We've seen such a weird progression of Twitter wokeness to where now a plainly reactionary community like Destiny's can employ tools of shaming and canceling while still using slurs in the very same tweet that they do with. It's crazy that Hasan will shit all over me and call me a racist for using the N-word in quotes while doing a podcast with this guy, Lamau. Not trying to defend H3 by any means. It's just surreal how the previous generations of people calling cracker a slur would have rallied around H3 for using slurs in that clip, but have now found a way to have their cake and eat it. Appear progressive while reactionary. That's from, you know, all the way back in 2021. That's not his account. Yes, it is. The talking about. It was. I don't know what his new account is, but this was at the time his account. That's so funny. People are like, that's not his account. Yeah, he's been banned 1 million times over because, you know, I think you know why. I know you know honestly, what everyone knows, but this was hilarious. Imagine lying to your audience so comfortably. What is this?
Pretty severe, the way that he draws everything back to Destiny. I don't know him. I've never talked about him on the channel.
Because Destiny's been getting like mega canceled by every conservative for saying he doesn't give a fuck about the guy who died, which is whatever. You know, here's the one where he actually had a debate with Destiny. And main guys, there's Vosh, Destiny, and Hasan, and they all hate each other. They're all social, or no, Destiny's not socialist, but they're all like libs, and they all hate each other. And Destiny was digging in on him, rightfully so, in my opinion. I mean, she's Louise. Being like, I'm a terrible person. I'm the worst. And as soon as Destiny gets on, he goes, go yourself. You're a terrible person. He says, Destiny and Ethan Klein call me foolish for supporting the Tate's innocence. And once Destiny calls in, he starts tilting him so bad, and just more and more and more deranged. I guess Destiny has a problem with this guy. I think everybody has a problem with this guy, outside of Fresh and Fit. Like, Destiny was saying,
these are the same same type of out of context clips that D watches. Like, I know he knows who he is, dog. What do you mean? Like, of course I know who. I know he knows who Destiny is. What are you talking about? He knows that the subreddit was being brigaded at the time too. It's not necessarily that like he knows who he is. It's more so what my point is not that he knows who he is and he's lying about it. Everybody knows that. It's not that. My point is he's getting his compilation of clips, I don't think from his own production staff, to do like this clipped out of context, like Hasan is extremist, loves Russia, loves China. I think he's getting it directly from Destiny's community, which is odd. Bro, the Destiny subreddit are straight up celebrating providing ammo. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's scouring that subreddit to find Oppo on you. It's clear. It's like if I went to H3 Snark, which I talked about yesterday. I was like, it's not normal to follow someone that much, especially if you hate them. But like, it would literally be if I did a H3 Snark subreddit review where I compiled all the things that H3 Snark put together, and then I was like, well, these are my valid criticisms against Ethan. And then be like, he's too afraid to address them. You know what I mean? Yeah, I saw this. Here, this is, yeah, I saw this. Ethan Klein scrolling Destiny subreddit for anti-Hasan talking points. Once again, how do you arrive at a Hasanabi, unlisted Hasanabi clip? A clip titled Hasanabi that is unlisted. For the clip of you watching Kamala and grimacing when she said Hamas graped women, what's the missing context? I don't know. Do you think that I haven't written extensively or talked extensively on October 7, the atrocities, what actually took place, the media coverage surrounding it, creating additional atrocity propaganda when it wasn't even necessary, but exclusively to make it seem as though all of, all of Israel's actions that came after October 7 would be justifiable? Or do you think that a 2-second clip is the sum total of my entire perspective on this matter? I'm a political commentator. Do you think I haven't talked about this extensively? Ban me. You were a pretty good person to get into politics with, and I appreciate that. But after going through yours and other streamers' history, you are the most cowardly individual when it comes to defending your takes against others. DGGer for life. I'm not going to ban you, brother. I don't know if the mods already did. I hope you live a happy life. I do mean it. Like, god damn, dude. do you get here? 2022. It was Dearborn. I live near there. We're going to vote on an upcoming election. We're voting on the Dearborn situation. It seems the book should be allowed for public viewing. For real, why am I here? Why am I even a liberal? Oh, yeah, because I got a 5-figure check coming from TYT. Like, that's how much of a fan he was, that he was joking about TYT checks. As someone who's watched you in the TYT days, always so wild to me, seeing people who've known about you that long turn against you. I know why. And I know how it happens. People are very passionate in this community. Okay? People are very passionate in this community. And if there is an issue, and I'm a very passionate person, if there's an issue that they find to be at odds with their worldview, it causes them to like be shocked. It strips their identity almost. And they're like, what the f-? I'm no longer welcome in this community. And then they seek out other places where they can get this kind of they look for another hug box, basically. And there are plenty of anti-Hasan communities out there. Obviously, the number one is the number one anti-Hasan community has been the cult that it has been cyber stalking and meticulously logging every moment that they can use through all of the political things that I've talked about to just basically create like haters in every sector. Chronically online people that behave in a cultish way that will change their political opinions on a whim as long as their divorcelli God decides to change his perspective. I know this because he had a dramatic perspective shift since 2018 when I first met him. Over the course of the past 6 years, he has gone back on a litany of positions that he argued for with passion. Okay? Serious question. Do these trolls do this for free? Yes. Why was that? Why mine changed? I don't know. I don't know what a person's personal motivations are. This is going to be every stream until the election. We're 13 days away from the election. It's all internet drama bullshit. I know. I just felt it. I felt the need to, clear certain things, like to clarify certain things, considering that I'm getting, a barrage of slander. After watching so much shit, I want to just say thank you. I don't care about specific American policies, not from there, but the way you break down policies and reference actual journalists is so commendable. Appreciate you caring much about the world. I don't know if it matters, but I'm referencing you in my master thesis. Sorry for brain rot, just ruining chat. I don't think I've ever seen anyone get hated as much as you do. Like, I stayed away from your content since 2020 because everyone was always ranting about how problematic you are and other bullshit. Find out you're just advocating for human rights. Yes. When you are depressed, stuff like this gives you a sense of being in a community, but long term, this will just harm your existence. Yeah. That's what I also try to explain to people in general, that like this kind of championing for someone else, like an internet content creator that doesn't know you, and fighting their battles like this is not going to make your life better. It's just simply going to increase the toxicity in your life. Most people do not have the time to watch an entire stream or to fully comprehend what my worldview is, and therefore they just often make up their own mind. They see like a bunch of people being like, this guy sucks, and then they go, okay, maybe this guy sucks. I don't even fault them for it. I don't even care necessarily. If they also did not dramatically change their worldview and start advocating for like white people being able to say the N-word or whatever it wouldn't matter to me as much. Like, if someone is pro-Palestine unconditionally, right? If someone is pro-Palestine unconditionally, but they have issues with me in general, I think that anger is most likely misguided and misplaced, but it doesn't matter. Jake Tapper just said Bernie Sanders is doing an interview on Discord with Valkyrie and Pokemon. Yeah, it's true. If anything, it's also an indication of how much this community touches grass, for sure. I mean, there's plenty who don't touch grass in this community as well, let's be real. But last sentence on the bottom of my effort post, please. What was it? When you shit on the rainbow flag was the point on my journey where I realized I'm not immune to being reactionary. It's funny because it's a stupid reason to be upset with you talking about how tier its colors are. We disagree on a lot of topics, and that's okay. I will never say farting on planes is okay, but understand that planes are loud. So maybe everyone does it, and you're the only one brave enough to say it out loud. Yeah, that's the other side. I mean, that person is joking, but like, there can be a bunch of things that you disagree with me on. The point is, bro, your take on Ukraine was so bad, you lost a lot of people there for a moment. See, like, people are still rehashing this shit. No, I was wrong to assume that Russia, specifically Vladimir Putin, would do such an unimaginably insane thing an unimaginably insane thing that is ultimately harming Russian lives as well as Ukrainian lives. I'm saying that, like, obviously Putin should at the very least care to a certain degree about his own self-governance. So, like, if you at this point still think that, you know, that I am, you said you didn't care about the Ukrainian constitution. Yeah, I care about human lives. I care about sparing human lives. I care about making sure that Ukrainians don't die in the meat grinder. What do you mean? Like, again, do you think I don't care about the sum total of like Ukrainian sovereignty? I do. I think it's unconscionable and completely unjustifiable that Russia invaded Ukraine. There's never been a moment where I've considered that to be acceptable or appropriate. And yet you still are pointing to something that is like, you're in the community of a person who has fundraised for Ukrainian victims of Russia's unjustifiable war. Someone who is, you know, okay, you learned a lot, I said for a moment. No, dog. You misunderstood my point that I was making. I don't even remember exactly what this was in context to, but like, again, you're doing the thing.